Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Gray Man Prepping. It is time for Survival Saturday, and tonight's topic is oh, jumping ahead of the slides here. Cattle for preppers. I don't know, a lot of preppers are going to go, I don't need no cattle. Yeah, you do. Oops, hang on a second. Let me fix this. I forgot to put the green screen up. I had to chase the grandsons out and forgot to do that. All righty. Well, let's see who's all here because I've got a couple more coming in here. All right. So first one in was Market Chef Tech. He's up at his cabin. Sumi was second. Walt Rogers was third. Fatal and Clan Wolf is fourth. He's making that old quote there. Beef is what's for dinner and breakfast and lunch. And Sumi's definitely says she's definitely a carnivore. And was chef just ate prime cut strip, roasted corn. He had to ruin it with a vegetable. And Daniel Berry Sports Highlight is here. And we got a couple others that are just aren't commenting, just lurking. That's fine. If you're lurking, just make sure you hit the thumbs up button and maybe just say lurking so we know who it is that's lurking. All righty. So I was trying to get Darren at Thorhaven. Turns out he's on vacation this week. He'll be getting back home, sometime next week here. So, but he says, hey, he'd be happy to come up here another time if we want to continue the conversation and talk about his Highland cows and why they chose those. And if you're not following Thorhaven, they just got a couple more. Froze there. If you're not following Thorhaven, they just got a couple more Highland cows before they went on vacation. And one of them they picked up specifically to send to freezer camp. And they got it. I think they got another female. So, but interesting what he's doing up there in Canada. All right. So, almost forgot. And Walt Rogers is not going to come up and talk about his family's cattle ranch because he is a deputy and still working, so he's not going to be up here doing it. And I understand that completely. And Keelan Strain just came in. All right, so let's pop over here. So yeah, these are Highland cows, but how many types of cattle are there? And what do you want them for? So you want it for meat? You want it for milk? You want it for a draught, which is like an ox, or a team puller, to pull plows and stuff. And or you want them for weed control too, out there and just out grazing, keeping the grass down, keeping the weeds down and stuff, so you don't have to worry about fires. Or what other reason might you want to have cattle? And before I go any farther, for those that don't know, Butch Graves, did I say Butch Graves? The Butch Graves is here. All right, saw him at the bottom there. Jump by him. All right, so proper term is cattle. A cow is a female. A bull is a male. He's showing his face. And he's muted. So, yeah. So, but people generically call them cows. And it's, because, the term cowboy. And we're not going to go into all the history of that, but the term cowboy came around after the Civil War. Suzanne Goulet is here. And a young cow is a heifer, and a neutered bull is a steer. So you really so you got to think about and do research before you buy any type of cattle. And we're going to go into some things, but you don't have to go and buy. Oh, I want to get a dozen cattle, and so I'm going to need 6 males and 6 females. No, they're not like people. They don't get married up, and yeah. And a baby is a calf. All right, so let me bring this back up here now. All right, so this is just some of the more popular breeds around. You have your Angus, which is generally called Black Angus, but there's also a Red Angus, and there's also an Aberdeen Angus. And Aberdeen Angus are a little bit rarer. It hasn't been that big of a breed for that long. I was reading up on them. If you really want to do your own research, and I suggest you do, if you Google types of cattle, and there's a website that'll pop up that is something or other facts, and it says cattle. Yeah, pages and pages talking about the three main types of milk, meat, or drought. Draft, whatever you want to call it. And so those are the types there. Someone has a fire going. But now the cows we eat, pros, that we had when I was in high school, we had a Guernsey Jersey mix, and my dad bred her to another Guernsey, and so we had it wound up with another cow, milk cow. That was a more Guernsey than Jersey, but still a Guernsey Jersey mix. And the milk that came off of those was absolutely amazing. But the Guernsey and the Jersey have really high fat content, comparatively speaking to other cattle. And of course, everybody knows the Texas Longhorn here in the middle, and everybody's heard about the Brahma bulls and stuff. But there are, like I said, this is just a few of them. I think they said there's something like 72 breeds of cattle in United States and Canada. A lot of different types, because notice here they don't list the Highland one here, but they do list the Highland when they're talking about the different types and stuff. So this one here. And looking at cattle, they have different different builds to them and stuff for different things, for whether they're meat or draft or dairy cows. Yeah. So one of the things is, as a teenager, how many years was that we had cows? Two, three, four, about six years of cows. I tell you, as a starting out in my junior year in high school through junior and senior year, and then 4 years afterwards, milk cows were not my favorite thing because you got to get up you got to milk them at 6 o'clock in the morning or earlier, and then you got to milk them 12 hours later in the evening. So for a prepper or a small homesteader, that's the way it goes for the cows. I mean, we would get like on the low side, we were getting a little over 2 gallons of milk per cow per milking.
Why do I have to milk the cow and just go to the store and buy it, right?
Yeah, except for one thing. Right now, it's like there's a possibility of certain areas of this country, the truck drivers having problems. So there may be some supply chain disruptions again. But we're not going to say who that is backing Captain Crazy is facilitating that. But there's one dairy. Actually, there's 2 different dairies I've watched the reels on, and the one is really good. I mean, he brings up he'll show a clip of someone talking about, oh, that's so horrible what they do to the cows in the dairy. They force them to be inseminated, be pregnant all the time, and they cut them open to deliver the calf and sew them back up. Well, that sounds more like a C-section for people. And they go on and they force them to eat more so they produce more and stuff. And the guy, it cuts to him, and the guy's just laughing and goes, I would love to have this lady come to my farm and video her while she's here and see what really goes on. And he walks around, shows it, and he goes, our cows get milked 3 times a day. And what they do is they come in and walk into the when they feel they need to be milked, they walk in and get in line, and they just follow the thing, and it's all automated as far as just washing them and everything else. Of course, they do have people there putting the on the udders, the milker tubes and stuff.
Yeah, the udder suckers. Yeah, those.
Yeah. Yeah, the and they go through, and then they get milk, and as soon as they're done, that drops off, and they go out and they eat, and they have actually in the barns they have these like little paddocks, open paddocks on the side, and the cows will after they go eat and they go lay down in the sand in these paddocks, and it's lounging around, and and it's just amazing to watch a modern dairy system going on. And what's so funny is, hey, Seabass, in the big barn there, when they're doing the milking on the one side and have a barn next to it, which is feeding the feeding barn and stuff, they have on the posts, they got like big bristle brooms screwed to the post, and then they have another one that's got a powered thing. So when the cow gets underneath there, it's a sensor comes on, it starts spinning, and it lowers down. And it lowers down. It's like a pressure sensitive, like in a car wash. How it doesn't just mash up against the car. It tests it, moves around, and it sits there and spins. And the cows will just go, oh, and those rock back and forth under it, move forward a little bit, and the thing's just going, I mean, it's like, hey, I wish I had one of those. I go stand under it myself sometimes. And it's just, in a dairy, a modern dairy system, especially if it's a modern family-owned one, they treat, the cows are really taken care of and babied. where do we find these people? Let's see. New York City, San Francisco, Berkeley, Seattle. Yeah. It was funny. I saw another one that wasn't on any of these, but she was out there complaining, and I think it was Dad Bod Veteran or whatever was commented on it, and she was going, blah, blah, why do we even have to have these cows that on their, they're farting all the time and causing the the global warming? If we need milk, we can just go to the store to get it. And he comes on, and he's just shaking his head and goes, no, no, no. Where do you think the milk from the store comes from? It comes from the dairy cows. But yeah. But anyway, as far as having cows for a prepper, for most preppers that are, it's probably not a big option, because most of them are still living in the city or in the suburbs or somewhere like that, and they don't have the room for a cow. And those that belong to a MAG or a CAG or an Prepper LLC or one of those type organizations, well, they got a quote bug out location out in the country. There's not people there all the time to take care of cattle. And so it's not really an option for them unless the part of their dues to be part of this MAG or CAG or LLC or whatever the group is they want to call it, and all the rules stuff. Unless their dues pay for somebody being out there to run the cattle, and then if they're doing that, they're probably just going to be trying to grow as many cattle as they can, and then selling them off as meat until to recoup the expenses, maybe make a little profit on it. Okay, hang on. Let me go to how much cow per acreage. Well, this property on this side of the street is 1 acre. On the other is 5 acres. Brandon, before we bought that one, was leasing most of the property from the owners. And so he's leasing about 4 acres from them and running cows, had cattle over there. And if I remember right, he was maxed out for the grazing. And I'm trying to remember what the neighbors all said he had out there. And so if he wasn't not bringing in any alfalfa, I think he had like they were saying anywhere between 15 and 20 cattle on the acreage over there, which was right at the max. Over here on this side, they had about half an acre's worth. So they had a fence out because he got the house on, he had the shop on it, they had a lawn area, but then he had the rest of it out there fenced off. And he said like about a half acre there, and he was leasing an acre from the people behind. So he had an acre and a half, and he was running about 8 to 10 cows over here. And during the wintertime, he brought in a truckload of big bales, and he would feed them, during the wintertime. And, basically he'd have a couple older cows in there with him, and then have all the yearlings or the ones, less than a year old that were going to be overwintering and growing up. And so he was feeding those. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And try telling somebody that hamburger comes from beef. Yeah. And so, some people, it says hamburger, so it must be from, it's ham, so it comes from, from a pig. And so those that don't know the story of hamburger was basically originally like Salisbury steak, beaten and stuff. And basically it was steak in the style of Hamburg, Germany. And that's the way they did it. They take the rough cuts and they had the big mallets with the big sharp points on it and tenderize the meat and stuff and beat it all out and then cook it. All right. Prepper 101's in the house. I have cattle, no joke. Good. 3 cows, 1 steer, 1 heifer, 1 bottle calf steer. So Prepper 101, I take it means you do not have a bull, and either you artificially inseminate or you get someone that has a bull to bring it in to impregnate the cows when it's time for them to start producing. And he buys grass and feed. Hang on a second here. Hawaii cows. Instead, I have iguanas. And let me get this cleared up over here. And I know I dropped it in there, but where'd it go? There it is. I forgot to pin the. There's the link. All right. Cattle are on my Sunday list. Now, there are also different sizes on that list of cattle I showed. There are other cattle that are smaller, miniature cattle, whatever you want to call them. And I haven't looked into the different the breeds on those. So that's something to think about too. If you have only several acres and you want a couple cows, Tuber Chat's in the house. Woohoo! Ham is pork. I'm still in my college. Actually, it's like 3 cows per acre. You know, you have 3 cows per acre easily. Next door right now, the 1 acre he has in the back here that Brandon used to lease from him, he's got 2 cows out there. 1 cow, 1 steer that is a yearling about, and a horse out there. And they are not grazing it down. I mean, he could put 2 more cows out there easily before it would before they have to worry about feeding them, because they are not even touching all the grass that's growing out there. Yeah, it does depend on the quality of the pasture and what's in it. The around here we have a problem with stuff called Russian broom, which was imported, and I think, oh, the cows will eat it. Well, the cows will graze on it when it's less than 6 inches tall. Once it gets taller than 6 inches, they won't touch it because it turns bitter. And we also have star thistle around here. And so, let's see here. All right, Butch is saying 1-to-1 for irrigated pasture. 2 for dry land is 1 to 2 acres. Like I said, over here, they only irrigate it once every 3-4 weeks, and they are not touching it. We have they do have alfalfa growing there as well as cheatgrass. and then they have a little bit of the Russian broom trying to encroach upon it, but doesn't encroach that much. And the star thistles aren't a big problem over there yet, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, you look over the acre and you see them out there. When it's funny when the grandsons come over and they run out the back door. Where are the cows? Where are the cows? And we got to go out there. And we look around, see. Sometimes they're laying down, and it's like okay. There's the horse way over there, and all right, there's the cow and its calf over here, and there's areas out there that they haven't hardly touched, and when areas that they have touched, they graze it off pretty good, and they move to another little section on. And they move around, and of course, along the fence line, they keep it. They're always walking along the fence line, munching whatever comes up on the fence line. Keep it down pretty good, but out in the middle there, it's like I say, the guy does not feed them any grain or any alfalfa or anything. He doesn't bring any food in until just before the last month or so before they send the one off to freezer camp. They'll grain finish it. They'll bring in grain for that steer or cow. And the ones over here are Black Angus. Yeah. I'm just checking the chat here. Yeah. When we had 2 milk cows, the only time we fed them was at milking time. Otherwise, they were out there grazing, and we had 1.25 acres, and they only had access to 1/3 of it. So they had access to a little over 1/3 acre, and the 2 cows were out there. And of course, they get a leaf alfalfa and a number 10 can scoop of molasses oats at milk time. But that's the thing, looking at the different types. Get it back up here. Yeah. I said there's a lot more varieties. This is just some of them that and you can get and it depends on some are big. The pictures do not do good comparison to the different size and stuff, but yeah, it depends on some of the breeds. They have less fat, others have more fat. Some are naturally more marbled in their meat. Some are more like the Texas Longhorn, can survive on shrubs, and they were, that's where they came from, out in Texas. Out there, there's wild cattle out there, eating tumbleweeds and everything else, almost like a goat. Yeah. So let me see if I can bring something up over here for you guys. It's got to come up easy. And of course, it's not showing it here for me. Let me see if I can bring it up a different way here. Trying to find the one here that gives it, so I can give you guys the link to look up. Oh, it's just not showing up here. Dangity dang dang dang. All right, give me a second. I gotta see if I can pull it back up on the other side here where I had it on the other computer from earlier. Okay. Okay, facts.net. F-A-C-T, facts.net, /types, T-Y-P of cows. Okay, so this is the link I wanted to share with you guys. Get it to work right here now. Share that down there. All right, so there's your there's the link. Come on, get in there. Internet's still hanging up. So there's the link. And that is to this page here. There we go. And so, you know, facts.net, and still have ads popping up everywhere. But more things popping up than there was before. Okay, so I have wondered how many different types of cows and bulls there are. There are over 250 recognized breeds of cows. And there are more than 70 breeds of American cattle alone. And let's see here. Despite this, only an average number of people actually know more about cattle. This article covers all you know about the three types of cattle: dairy, beef, and draught. And it talks all about them, and talks about the origin of cattle and stuff. So the one here, let me see, highlight here. That is recognized as the original breed from which all cattle came from, or whatever, and it was native to the subcontinent of India and spread throughout China and the Middle East, and finally manufactured Europe and North Africa, and so on. And it runs through it, and so cattle versus cow bull, talks about that. Goes into dairy cows, talks about the different types of dairy cows and stuff. So, but yep. So there's the link for you guys to look at. Savage Lee, how's it going? Yeah. I'm 67, so I ain't exactly thrilled about getting cows, but I may want to get as the grandsons get older. We're thinking about Highland cattle a little bit smaller than the ones we had, or getting some of the quote miniature cows, and which are give a lot more milk than goats do, and we wouldn't be bucking any hay ourselves either. If we'd get it, we'd have like 4 or 5 on the big acreage over there, and we growing alfalfa for them, and then sell one or two off a year, and just keep them breeding and going, and the others breeding and going, and then just proceeds from selling some off would be getting alfalfa for them. Yeah, chickens and rabbits are one of our ideas, possibly sheep too, which is another thing I going to have to do. I'm doing one on goats and sheep here. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah. However, I found something that kills it really quick, and absolutely, 30%, spraying 30% or 22.5 to 30% vinegar on it. Just kills it like that. And if you spray it on the heads, it doesn't spread. Just found that out this year. Yeah. Yeah, with the chickens and the rabbits, yeah, you can do that. Rabbits are a lot easier to hide and stuff. All right, Savage. Kick back and relax and listen. Yeah. Now we've talked about, so during my senior year, besides having the milk cows we had, my brother and I spent a lot of the summer with some of the ranchers out there, going out there, and my dad made a deal that we would work for them for free, but they would teach us everything they could teach us, which was, that was, that was back in 74, summer of 73 and 74. So, yeah, just a few decades ago. Mm. Yeah. And some people, they keep a couple cows so they have a breedable livestock in case things go, and then they'll start breeding them. Yeah. And some people do the same thing with rabbits, goats, sheep, chickens. Hang on, let me look at this up here. DEXT. Dexter cattle breed. Okay, there's Dexter cattle breed. Milk production is 10 to 12 liters daily. Known for their longevity. And so there's a YouTube video on them from Sweetbriar Farm.
Hey, did you get a picture of my mother-in-law on there?
I was waiting for Prepper 101 to say something about mother-in-law and cattle.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard from him, so I figured I'd throw it in there for him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my mother-in-law and cousin on the bottom down there.
Yeah. But let me so there's a website for the American Dexter Cattle Association called dextercattle.org. You can check those out. Let's see, what are they used for? Both milk and beef. And of course, they're running everything in the useless non-fraction way of adding things up. Disadvantages. They are known for the easy calving and excellent meat. However, some cons to consider, such as lower milk production compared to larger dairy breeds, and a smaller yet growing market for Dexter, cattle products. So, and that's from TexasRealFood.com. So yeah, there are different sizes of cattle and stuff, and things to consider. If you have family that has acreage somewhere, you know, it's something to look into. Generally speaking, wolves and coyotes are only a problem for smaller, you know, 2 or 3 cows with a couple of calves. They'll go after the calves because there's not enough cattle there to fend them off. And then in wintertime, it gets even worse. I'm just trying to remember. Generally, they, you know, the guys that were there in Arizona said that, you know, because they had, you know, several hundred head of cattle, you know, out there together in groups, and they said, you know, generally the calves know to stay in the middle of the group as they move along, but but yeah, it's the bulls, especially if a coyote works its way, or wolf works its way into the group, you know, will go out there and, you know, gang up on it and stomp it. Yeah. So I mean, you know, we're still, my wife and I are still kicking around whether or not we're going to get cattle. We have to find someone to find some of the smaller breeds around here and go look at them, and, you know, talk to the ranchers and stuff, find out, you know, the pros and cons from them about the different breeds and stuff that are around here, and figure out, you know, what we're going to do. You know, we may go with sheep. You know, plant alfalfa out there and let the sheep keep it low, and then come wintertime, get someone to come in and with one of the small cutters, just to, you know, cut the rest of the field down, and, you know, because we'll rotate them, cut it all down, and bring in one of those little small mini balers and just, you know, bale up some stuff for us for the winter. Yeah, that is why a family land trust comes in, because then they, you know, and make sure that, you know, you have, you know, multiple listed so that they can't just sell it. They have, well, everybody's approval, not majority, everybody's approval. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So if when the staff sergeant retires up here, and if we sell the property in California, we'll probably be buying nearby, you know, another 20, 30 acres or so, just to run animals on it. Yeah, I just saw a reel. I wish I'd saved the link to that one. Talking about the 10 by state, you know, 1 through 10 as having the most cattle, and for the states, you know, which state has the most cattle. And of course, Texas was on it, Oklahoma was on it, Nebraska was on it, Idaho was on it, Colorado, Montana was on it. I forget the other ones. They were, you know, yeah. But anyway, so, you know, if you're thinking about cattle, look at the different breeds. If you got small acreage, look at getting mini cattle or smaller sized breeds of cattle. Go to the official. Just about every breed should have its own website for that particular breed of cattle. Go there, talk to, you know, ask questions on the site about, you know, how many can you have per acre, you know, how much, you know, feed do you need to have for, if you have if you have an area like here where we get snow on the ground, how much do you have, you know, how much, how many tons of alfalfa, hay, whatever you're going to need for per cow to get them. So you need to figure out exactly how much feed you're going to need. And also don't forget salt licks and other types of grain too to go with them. Three cows, two calves. He'll rotate. Yeah, rotate where they graze. Yeah, sectioning off area with fences and gates. That's I was just watching a video today from Stony Ridge Farmer. He just had a load of alfalfa delivered, and people are always kind of, why are you buying alfalfa? Why don't you grow it? And he's showing his fields and stuff. With the amount of cattle I have on here, they graze it off, and there's, you know, even if I'm trying to rotate it around, trying to get some to grow, I have to keep rotating them, and they keep grazing it off. And it's, you know, right now he's getting to the point where he's once the cattle get to a certain size, with the steers, he's selling them off for meat and trying to keep the cows for breeding and growing. But then he's also you know, taking down more of the woods that have grown up since it used to be a tobacco farm. So the trees that have encroached upon it, and he's taking them down and reclaiming land. And he hopes to be able to reclaim enough land to be able to keep a large herd and rotate it from pasture to pasture to pasture, and have some pastures just, you know, 1 year just that pasture will just stay until and produce alfalfa for the wintertime. But it's one of those things you got to figure out. And cattle are not just something you jump into like you can with rabbits or chickens. You got to make sure you have good fences, water sources for them, and realize that if you're milking cows, at least twice a day, you got to do it. Otherwise, they get really pissy. That was one thing nice about in California there, in the San Francisco Bay Area. The cattle were out in the fields, and they didn't have to have any shelter. There were trees out there to go stand under the tree, you know, during rainstorms and stuff like that. But it never got any snow there at all. All right. Anybody have any questions? If you come up with questions later on, you know, like I say, you know, look at the different types of cattle. I put that one link in there, and it talks a lot about the different types of different breeds in that article. And you can go and look at if you see videos, you know, watch some videos of some ranchers and stuff here on YouTube, and find out what type cattle they have. And they talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about them. So you can learn a lot just there. And you also find out if you got several channels growing the same breed of cattle, you can go research that, you know, on the internet to find out what they have. All right, so let me go ahead and get that out of the way there. All right, get this over. So coming up here, Monday on my other channel, Camp Pat Family Compound, we're going to be talking about canning different types of water. And somebody going, canning water? Yeah, there's different types of water you want to can, especially when you're canning your fruits and vegetables and whatever else, and meat and chickens and everything else. If you have empty spots in the canner, you know, can water. And we're going to be talking about the different types of water you should be canning to have for medical and other purposes as well. Tuesday here on Gray Man Prepping, Boji prepping. People think, oh, that's not real prepping. That's fake prepping. You don't need to have a, quads, or you don't need to have this. You need to have real prepping. So we're going to talk about the myth of Boji prepping or Boji prepping, and remember, everybody is not the same. Everybody has different needs than others do. Devil Dog Prepper, welcome. So that's Tuesday on Tactical Tuesday. Thursday is the Midnight Ride. Everything is at 8 o'clock Eastern, except for the Midnight Ride, which is at 10 o'clock Eastern, because it's midnight somewhere else in the world. Friday, on Camp Patton Family Compound, teaching youth to have a do-it-yourself mindset, teaching the youth to look at problems and come up and think of solutions outside the box. Develop that thinking mindset that they try to kill in the schools, trying to make drones out of everybody. And then next Saturday here is again talking about youth. It's dealing with youth in a difficult situation. And some of the youth could be youth as young as toddlers, or youth in their teens, and dealing with youth in a difficult situation. So that's what's coming up here in the next week. And Mark's fire is looking better and better over here. Yeah, the thing is, though, do you have acreage to graze the horse? Do you have time to do the horse all the time? If I was at where I am at now, 15 years ago, I would have a horse. But as much as I grew up with horses. I rode horses. Oh, geez. Upwards of 20 years old. And I love horses. But right now, I'd rather have a good workhorse quad, or a heavy duty utility vehicle. Yep. Yeah, my dad was a farrier. Tried teaching me. I was learning pretty good, and then we got rid of the horses, and that was when I was shooting horses when I was 12 with him. But shortly after that, I haven't touched a horse's foot since then, or hoof. So I forgot so much stuff. More skills I got to relearn. All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming in and asking questions, sharing your knowledge. Remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out doing anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill. There are a lot of skills dealing with livestock that we all need to learn. All right? Stay safe, and we'll see you around.
Have a good night.